since Emperor Wu of the Han dynasty established Dunhuang as a garrison. This vast expanse has served as a grand stage where numerous historical dramas have unfolded. The realms of culture, art, and technology, along with politics, economy, religion, and every part of daily life, have converged and interacted, leading to profound collisions and fusions of art and civilization. This process has given birth to flowers symbolizing the integration of human civilizations. On this great thoroughfare of cultural exchange, not only do ideas, arts, thoughts, and religious beliefs flow freely, but the circulation of goods between the East and the West has become even more accessible and frequent. Despite the long and perilous journey, the promise of substantial profits has driven merchants to take risks, forging a path for commercial exchanges. Through the vast Gobi Desert, high mountains, and great rivers, the Mogao Grottoes in Dunhuang feature murals of trade caravans, showcasing the prosperous exchanges that once thrived along the Silk Road. Many of the traders had deep-set eyes and high noses, wore pointed hats, and had beards. Who were they? Where did they come from? And what roles did they play in the vibrant tapestry of East-West trade? In 2022, at the age of 23, Mijagovna, a girl from Tajikistan, returned from her studies in China, and joined the staff of the National Museum of Tajikistan as a researcher. By chance, she saw 5 ancient Sogdian letters unearthed from Dunhuang. These letters, written in Sogdian, were discovered in 1907 by British explorer Mark Orlstein, beneath a beacon tower of the Great Wall of Han Dynasty northwest of Dunhuang. Sogdian is a language that has been lost to time. Deciphered by scholars from various countries, these letters were penned over 1,700 years ago. They were messages sent by Sogdians living in Dunhuang and other parts of China to their families in Samarkand and regions like Lowlan in the western regions.
I have to say that upon encountering these letters, what struck me most, it was the exquisite beauty of the Sogdian script.
Among the letters, 2 particularly moved her deeply. They were written by a Sogdian woman named Milne. She had defied her parents' wishes to accompany her husband Nanidat on his business ventures to China, and eventually settled in Dunhuang. For reasons unknown, Nanidat left Milne and their daughter in Dunhuang and traveled alone to Lowlan. Over 3 years, he sent no word back to his family. Faced with despair, Milne wrote to her husband, and also asked her relatives in Sogdiana for help.
I have written to you time and again, yet not a response has ever come, not a single one. I have lost all hope of ever seeing you again. In this dire situation, I have lived in Dunhuang for 3 years, all because of you.
Penniless Milne had been abandoned in a foreign land by her husband. The hardships Milne endured are beyond words. Mijagovna felt a strong desire to uncover more stories of the Sogdians and their connection with Dunhuang. The Sogdians, an ancient Central Asian people who have long vanished from history, left behind their language, script, and images in distant Dunhuang. What historical messages lie buried along this trade route from Central Asia to China?
Dunhuang was one of the most prosperous places at the time, serving as a crucial hub on the Silk Road. And the Sogdians were merchants. Where were the main trading centers? During this era, from the 5th to the 8th centuries, it was Dunhuang.
Historically, the Sogdian region lay in the Zarafshan Valley between the Amur Darya and Sir Darya rivers, encompassing what is now Uzbekistan and Tajikistan. This lush oasis is home to numerous city-states of varying sizes. The flowing rivers nurtured a brilliant Central Asian civilization and bore witness to the rise and fall of the Sogdian people. Never having formed a unified state, the Sogdians were often under the control of powerful neighboring forces. Starting from the 3rd century, driven by commercial interests, they followed in the footsteps of Chinese envoys, embarking on a grand journey eastward. Thus began the great journey of trade and commerce. Their ultimate destination was Dunhuang. This brick, housed in the Dunhuang Museum, vividly captures the image of a Sogdian merchant. The triangular felt hat, worn by this figure, closely resembles those pointed hats depicted in murals from the Sogdian region. Contemporary murals in Dunhuang also document the arrival of Sogdian merchants from the west. This one titled Sutra illustration of Field of Merit was found in Cave 296, Mogao Grottoes. A camel-drawn cart is shown at the top of the mural with people and animals taking a break near a well. To the right, horses are being watered and a camel is being administered medicine. Below, 2 central Chinese merchants with their heads wrapped in scarves ride ahead of a heavily laden caravan, crossing a bridge. On the opposite side, a Sogdian merchant with high nose and deep-set eyes approaches, leading a camel, followed by his caravan. This scene evokes people's imagination.
Central Asia served as a vital link between the East and West, and the Sogdians played a pivotal role in this exchange. From the 4th to the 8th centuries, they were perfect for such roles. They left an indelible mark on the regions they traversed for trade, and the places they visited.
The second largest city in Uzbekistan, Samarkand, is an ancient and mysterious blue city along the Silk Road, with over 2,000 years of history. It was once the location of the most powerful Sogdian kingdom of Kangju, connecting ancient Persia, India, and China. The enterprising Sogdians transformed Samarkand into a magnificent capital, renowned for its wealth and beauty. According to historical records, in the 7th century, the Sogdians made 2 journeys through Dunhuang to present golden peaches to Chang'an, the Tang capital. While the exact nature of these golden peaches remains a mystery, one can only imagine the fertility and richness of the land that produced such a delicacy. Though millennia have passed, this land still radiates the splendor of its past and continues to attract visitors from around the world. The imprints and cultures of various ethnic groups are evident in the plazas, markets, and streets, and flow through the people's veins and hands. Nestled on the northeastern slopes of Samarkand lies the ruins of Afrasiab, a site of paramount importance for Mijagovna's expedition. It is here that archaeologists have uncovered the remains of a building, widely recognized as the ambassador's room of the Sogdian king Varksaman in the Tang dynasty era.
We are in the mural gallery. What you see before you is mural art. These are not only a source of pride for the museum and the city, but also for the entire nation. In 1965, during excavations at Afrasiab, a massive palace with 30 rooms was unearthed, all adorned with murals in all its walls. You were talking about the palace?
Yes. What's the size of that whole palace?
You know, due to the long period spent underground, only one hall's murals have been well preserved.
What unfolds before Mijigovna's eyes is the original work from the restored ambassador's room. Missing sections make full interpretation challenging.
The murals depict a scene of the ruler of Samarkand receiving foreign envoys. Ambassadors from different countries met the Sogdian king in the palace. This moment is intimately tied to the Great Silk Road.
According to inscriptions, the figures on the western wall are envoys from various countries paying homage to the Sogdian king. Prominently featured is a Chinese envoy in Tang dynasty holding bundles of silk, raw silk, and cocoons. These are principal goods traded by Sogdian merchants through Dunhuang.
Please take a look. It's a sea and underwater fairy tale. With a red boat floating on the sea, carrying Empress Wu Zetian of the Tang dynasty
Wu Zetian.
and her attendants. Do you see that? Female musicians.
Figures dressed in Tang costume fill the north wall. Some experts infer it depicts the Dragon Boat Festival during Hai Tang dynasty. Wu Zetian is depicted tossing zongzi into the water. The male at the center of the land hunting scene was recognized as Emperor Gaozong of Tang. Experts believe the mural on south wall features Sogdian king's New Year procession. The eastern wall, which is the most severely mutilated, is thought to embody the Indian epic. The four murals in the ambassador's room correspond to the neighboring countries which were linked to the fate of the Sogdian, expressing a worldview centered on the Sogdiana. The political diplomacy between the Sogdiana and the Tang dynasty underscores the frequent activities of Sogdian merchants in regions like Dunhuang and Chang'an. In addition, numerous ancient Chinese coins, and distinctly Sini-sized Sogdian square-hole coins, were found in the Sogdian region. This also supports the friendship between the mysterious nation of Sogdian and the Tang dynasty in the Central Plains. The Sogdians typically traveled in caravans as they ventured eastward. Over time, they established a trade network along the southern Silk Road, connecting Samarkand with Dunhuang, and extending deep into the heart of China. This is a migration path that allowed the Sogdians to settle in the east. The journey was fraught with challenges, not only natural obstacles, but also the human threats. Sogdian merchants attacked by bandits in Cave 45, Mogao Grottoes, vividly illustrates the perilous conditions faced by these traders. A caravan laden with goods passed through dense woods. The bandits, armed with long knives, jumped from behind rocks to plunder the merchandise. The merchants panicked and hurriedly unload a mule's storage rack and offer silk and money bags, hands clasped in prayer, beseeching Guanyin for salvation. Dunhuang, as a distributing center of east-west trade, naturally became an important base for Sogdian merchants. Many exotic items from ancient China, ranging from the lions revered as mythical creatures, to the pigments used in mural paintings, were brought to China via the Sogdians from the west. Numerous Sogdians who arrived in Dunhuang chose to settle there, contributing to the cultural exchange and fusion that enriched Chinese civilization with fresh elements. On the door of the eastern wall in Cave 359, Mogao Grottoes, a pair of couple donor portraits can be found. They are depicted in Tang costume, but the male figure is obviously overweight, with green eyes, a high forehead and nose, and a neatly trimmed beard. Facial and physical characteristics clearly indicates his origins of Western regions in Central Asia. According to inscriptions of other donor portraits in here, we know this is a local Shi family's merit-making grotto.
Dunhuang and Sogdiana are two great regions. The Sogdians who migrated to Dunhuang can acquire citizenship, a household registration. They were given Chinese surnames while living in Dunhuang.
During the Han and Tang dynasties, the Shi family, active in Dunhuang, is widely recognized by scholars as originating from one of the 9 surnames of Zhaowu. Upon Sogdians' arrival in Dunhuang, they were registered in local household records. To avoid confusion due to common names, the local government assigned them Chinese surnames based on the names of their home city-states. That's called the 9 surnames of Zhaowu. These 9 city-states are recorded differently in the historical record. They are commonly known as Kong, An, Sa, Shi, Mi, Ha, Shi, Huishuan, and Wudi.
Based on this, we can say that Dunhuang held special significance for the Sogdians in developing trade. This is evidenced by the discovery of some of the oldest Sogdian inscriptions in the 20th century, which shed light on the roles played by the Sogdians in this region.
In this context, the male donor figure in cave 359 likely represents a descendant of the 9 surnames of Zhaowu in Central Asia. The Dunhuang manuscripts found in the Mogao Grottoes library cave contain records of many Sogdians adopted Chinese surnames and professions. Over time, the Sogdians who settled in here gradually integrated into China and the local population. Today, many Chinese people bearing these surnames may be descendants of the Sogdians.
History puts us together with the Chinese from very early on. The integration began as early as the 5th century and has continued through the centuries.
Known for their musical and dancing talents, the Sogdians also led the way in fashion. The popular Sogdian mural of the Tang dynasty originates from Samarkand. Cave 220 created in the early Tang dynasty is one of the most famous music and dance caves. Below the western Pure Land on the south wall is a pair of dancers spinning on small round carpets, reminiscent of the way Sogdian ladies danced in the downtown area of Chang'an.
Despite never intending to, Mimne left behind her story through ancient letters, offering us a glimpse into the past.
These letters, found in a beacon tower northwest of Dunhuang, were likely abandoned when a courier met his end during a conflict, according to experts. By the 7th century, the era of the Sogdians was drawing to a close. The ancient Sogdian letters discovered in Dunhuang are among the earliest records of China's commercial activities. Memories across time and space, and the trip to Samarkand, made Mijagovna feel closer to Mimne. At the end of her trip, she decided to write a letter to Mimne.
Though our ages are similar, our fates have been vastly different. My unfortunate Mimne, I ask for your forgiveness for not being able to help you. Your story has touched many hearts.
Mijagovna in today, and Mimne in the past. Dunhuang and Samarkand. The past and today are separated by 1,000 years of dust and sand. Through these letters, these two girls' destinies meet across time, filling a historical void. Standing in Dunhuang, it feels like being a traveler through time. Walking across the ancient Silk Road. Following the cultural messages left by the Silk Road, we can almost see merchants, envoys, monks, and camel caravans converging here. Dunhuang, this magical hub in the Silk Road, with its broad-mindedness and generosity, embraced and nurtured every seed of civilization. The flourishing trade in goods ignited the city's vibrant commercial culture and brought about a fusion of lifestyles. From the Han to the Tang dynasties, over 800 years, the Silk Road thrived. In addition to the Sogdian merchants from Central Asia, more than 70 countries maintained diplomatic relations with the Tang dynasty. Envoys, traders, and monks from Asia and Africa continuously visited, traded, and studied in China via the Silk Road. Dunhuang, at this crossroads, witnessed unprecedented prosperity, becoming a key center for international exchange. You can see diverse foreign faces and exotic attire here. This scene rivals today's global summits. Today, though far away in time and space, we can transcend historical dust and perceive the grandeur of that era through the murals.
The makeup of the Bodhisattva in High Tang dynasty still needs to be a little richer. You do her hair. Make it tighter.
Noted fashion designer Chu Yan and young teacher Wang Ke from Beijing Institute of Fashion Technology have recreated dozens of Dunhuang-inspired outfits along with their team. They aim to capture the splendor of the Tang dynasty's golden age, when foreign nations paid tribute by representing its costumes. These recreated outfits are based on the murals and sculptures of the caves. Mogao Grottoes, with a history of thousands of years, house 45,000 square meters of murals and over 2,000 painted sculptures, forming a vast and vivid kingdom of attire. The collection includes court costumes represented by the costumes of emperors and officials, common clothes represented by the costumes of the people, distinctive military costumes, exotic foreign costumes, and imaginative and creative costumes of gods and Buddhas. In Cave 194, the southern wall depicts the scene of Vimalakirti preaching. Under the bed where Vimalakirti sits, some listeners feature high cheekbones and deep-set eyes, some have bushy eyebrows and beard, adorned in distinctly foreign hats, clothes, and jewelry.
It's got some wrinkles in the 3 strips.
To recreate these outfits, researchers first analyze the structure of the depicted garments, and then use imagination to transform them from flat images into 3D models. During her research, Wang Ke noticed that 2 figures standing at the front were dressed distinctly differently from others.
According to ancient literatures, there was a component of garment called ganman, which was uncut and simply wrapped around the body. This style is still seen today in modern India and Southeast Asian countries, where people wear pants or tops made from a single piece of cloth.
Combining her study of costumes with historical records, Wang Ke boldly deduced that these 2 figures are princes from ancient India and Southeast Asia. The standing Bodhisattva statue in Cave 194 stands out as a pinnacle of aesthetic achievement. Clad in a green round-necked long dress, adorned with scroll floral patterns, this figure resembles an aristocratic lady. However, the two small mustaches symbolizing male authority adds a touch of mystique and greatness.
The Bodhisattva's necklace is exquisitely beautiful, featuring intricate designs and a variety of techniques such as clamp fabric dyeing, embroidery, and brocade. It is evident that the artisans of the Tang dynasty used the finest silks and fabrics they could find to clothe this divine figure.
Floral and bird motifs were highly popular in Tang dynasty fashion, blending elements from Indian, Persian, and Greek art into traditional Chinese aesthetics. As a result, the scroll floral patterns on the Bodhisattva's clothes are widely used across the world.
It showcases both the characteristics of Western regions' traditional designs and the enduring influence of Han and Tang-era patterns from central China. This fusion of styles resulted in a resplendent and diverse Dunhuang pattern.
From fabric weaving to dyeing and accessory crafting, every step required meticulous attention to detail to achieve an authentic and historically accurate artistic effect based on the murals. Through careful stitching and tailoring, they made the colorful and elaborate costumes. From it, descendants are constantly searching for the key to speak with their predecessors. Through creative planning and tailoring, 4 months, the gorgeous garments and makeup, once only visible in murals, moved from the walls. The ancient history, the nostalgia for the great Tang dynasty, and entered into today's reality. The dozens of representative portraits from the Tang and 5 dynasties periods vividly recreate the grandeur of the ancient Silk Road, where different nations engaged in friendly exchanges.
Through the graceful flutter of skirts, we can see the beauty of cultural exchange and coexistence.
Our artistic recreation goes beyond merely reconstructing ancient garments. It aims to revive the enchanting scenes of diverse peoples from different ethnicities, cultures, and regions, dressed in magnificent attire and live harmoniously.
The female donors depicted in Cave 61 are dressed in opulent and elegant attire, reflecting the multi-ethnic integration of the era. The figure on the far left is the Uyghur princess, holding an incense burner and wearing Uyghur peach-shaped phoenix crown, and a narrow-sleeved robe with a turned-down collar. Her neckline features a pattern beloved by hen women, birds carrying scrolling foliage. This blend of distinct ethnic styles creates a unique and harmonious aesthetic. The mural in Cave 130, donor portrait of Lady Wang from Taiyuan in worship, show the scenes of female aristocrats saluting Buddha in the era. The formidable Lady Wang, accompanied by her 2 daughters and attendants, arrives in resplendent attire. Their slightly plump figures, adorned in flowing dresses and Huadian makeup in their faces, automatically remind us of the time of prosperity. The inclusiveness of that bygone era shines through the actors' every move, radiating warmth and emotion for all to see. It was an eclectic and colorful chapter of the great Tang dynasty. Dunhuang costumes record the ebb and flow of various historical cultures, setting different trends and reflecting the prosperity of international exchange between East and West over 1,000 years ago. The elegance and inclusiveness of this era continue to inspire and resonate today. The Tang Dynasty rulers' deep reverence for Buddhism led to an unprecedented development in Buddhist art. This period saw the peak of construction and decoration in the caves. Thousands of years later, most temples in Central Plains have faded into history. But luckily, Dunhuang has managed to retain the glory of that era. The richness of goods, cultural prosperity, open-mindedness, and fashionable trends were all preserved in the frozen time of the Mogao Grottoes. Mixing sand, clay, and wheat straw in Dunhuang. In a ratio of 3:6:1, artist Lei Lei from Dunhuang Academy's Institute of Fine Arts is recreating the ancient mural base known as Dijang. Most of the caves of Mogao Grottoes were cut into a glutinite layer. The structure of this rock layer is rough and loose, with extremely uneven palisades which cannot be used for painters to directly draw murals. Clay and wheat straw must be mixed into mud, and make the surface smooth and then lay a layer of finer mud to make it compact, so that the surface is as smooth as paper. This processed mural basis is Dijang. Unlike copying on rice paper, copying on the Dijang allows for the faithful reproduction of the weighty texture and atmosphere of the original murals. This time, Lei Lei also hopes to emulate the painters of 1,000 years ago, to recreate the magical beauty of Dunhuang flying apsaras. Nearly half the caves of the Mogao Grottoes were constructed during the Tang Dynasty, a time when sutra transformations, which depict idealized Buddhist paradises, became the primary artistic focus. These murals often illustrate the main content of one or more Buddhist scriptures, in grand, detailed scenes with clear priorities. With numerous figures, opulent architecture, stunning landscapes, a spectacle of unearthly luxury, they create a vision of the ideal Pure Land. Although the central figures are typically Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, the small flying apsaras surrounding them exude a captivating charm. In Cave 320, the splendor of the High Tang Dynasty is palpable. The Sogdiana Sutra transformation on the north wall features vast green and blue landscapes, creating a majestic and splendid scene. On the south wall, above the preaching scene, clouds swirl and petals fall, as 4 flying apsaras chase each other in pairs, earning the title of the most beautiful flying apsaras. The Tang Dynasty's flying apsaras are characterized by fluid, powerful lines, and vibrant colors, clearly influenced by the court dances and lady portraits of the central China. They exemplify the refined skills, grandeur, and inclusiveness in the High Tang Dynasty. Lei Lei's recreation on a mud panel is the iconic double flying apsaras.
It captures the essence of this art form. The essence means, I think, the boundless imagination and freedom.
The paired apsaras and Bodhi tree spring to life from Lei Lei's pen, descending in the flowers and colorful clouds. They echo each other's movements, with robes billowing and fluttering gracefully in the breeze. This scene captures a realm that is both dynamic and joyfully free. The apsaras, originally from ancient India, evolved through continuous interaction with Chinese civilization, eventually becoming a unique artistic representation by the Tang dynasty. Today, we traverse over 1,000 years of history, using the remnants left behind to cross the dusty annals of time and return to Dunhuang, where we can once again touch the grandeur of its past. At the British Museum, home to millions of precious artifacts from ancient civilizations. Professor Roderick Whitfield has long been working in the museum's Asian department and have associations with Dunhuang. He is a renowned expert in Dunhuang studies. Known colloquially as the Stein Room, this space houses around 600 Dunhuang relics, making it quite famous. These treasures were looted from the Mogao Grottoes library cave by Oral Stein. Most of them are the finest Dunhuang artifacts. They not only conceal a painful chapter of history, but also preserve the peak achievements of their time. The room is not open to the public. The museum will rotate and display a different selection of these items. But through special permission, our production team was able to experience the allure of these artifacts up close, listening to the stories they tell.
For 800 years, this painting was sealed away in the so-called Sangjingdong, the library cave.
Among Dunhuang's cultural relics, what many people don't know about, compared to sculptures and murals, are silk paintings and embroideries. During the Tang dynasty, when Buddhism flourished, Dunhuang's artists not only painted on cave walls, but also created exquisite silk paintings depicting beautiful landscapes, vivid figures, and mysterious Buddhist scenes for religious ceremonies or funerary rites. Professor Whitfield introduced us to the embroidered Liangzhou Buddha image, one of the largest and most complete surviving works from the 8th century, found in the Mogao Grottoes library cave, standing nearly 25 meters high and 1.6 meters wide. This piece appears like an ink painting from a distance, but up close, it reveals itself as an intricate embroidery crafted with threads of various colors.
First of all, the 3 pieces of rami, and they're the same loom width as the silk. So then the silk was attached, the ink outline, and then they did the embroidery. So the embroidery is magnificent, with beautiful variation of color and different stitches.
This work, confirmed to be the largest known ancient Chinese embroidery. Since the Tang dynasty, the Buddhist culture has had profound influence on embroidery. From the imperial court to common people, all revered embroidered Buddha images, making them significant artistic treasures of the era. The embroidered Liangzhou Buddha image features vibrant colors, including shades of blue, red, yellow, green, and the rare purple. In 1912, as described by Stein in his book Ruins of Desert Cathay, despite being damaged, it remains bright and shining. Over a century later, researchers at the British Museum have conducted dye analysis on 25 fiber samples. From this piece, uncovering new insights.
So some people may argue that why would something produced in Asia being produced with something that is not an Asian yellow dye?
The analysis result shows that the yellow dye used includes traditional Chinese dyes from the bark of the golden cypress, which fluoresces under UV light, and local poplar leaves from Dunhuang. Another unique yellow contains mignonette, a plant not typically found in China, but originating from Europe and the Middle East. Red comes from madder, widely used across many countries and regions, while blue and purple dyes are derived from Asian plants, commonly used in India and Japan.
I like to think at Dunhuang when it was really an active crossroad of people with different backgrounds and ethnicities living in this melting pot of cultures. And I really like the fact that the Dunhuang dyes reflect.
A short 20-minute walk north from the British Museum brings us to the British Library, where an exhibition is being held, showcases the history of 5,000 years of human writing and civilization records. Among the hundreds of exhibits, one stands out.
It's unlike most of the hundreds and thousands of scrolls from the library cave. It is printed rather than written by hand.
This scroll, which had lain dormant in the cave's dark confines for over a millennium, is itself a miracle. Wear and tear from its journey has left it vulnerable. It has been meticulously restored by conservators at the British Library over 23 years, bringing it close to its original condition. To minimize potential damage from frequent unrolling, the 5-meter-long scroll was divided into 7 sections for preservation.
These would have been at the beginning of the scroll originally, and it's an image that shows a preaching scene. So you've got it's all happening in a grove of trees. So you can see the foliage here surrounding the Buddha, and he's sitting there in the center of the composition, sat with his legs crossed under a canopy.
The image in the title page is complete and fluid. From the very beginning, woodblock printing integrated text and illustration.
Because it really speaks to a very well-established printing industry, because for such an item to have been produced, you would have needed the best artist here to carve that frontispiece, as well as the best calligrapher, because for those beautiful characters.
The printing technology behind the Buddhist scriptures shows the history of technological and cultural exchanges on the Silk Road, indicating the power of the Tang dynasty's technological and cultural contributions to the recording of human history and the heritage of civilization. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg. After the Han dynasty, Central Plains dynasties often faced political instability, with frequent dynastic changes and wars. Yet, the Heshi corridor in the western frontier, because of its remoteness and difficulty to reach, managed to preserve and retain Orthodox Chinese culture. The library cave of the Mogao Grottoes houses over 70,000 artifacts, including scrolls, documents, textiles, and paintings, representing a feast of cultural and academic history. These items encompass a wide range of subjects, from traditional Chinese classic texts and Buddhist texts to astronomical and calendrical works. The knowledge and information contained in these classic Confucian and Taoist texts, as well as documents of various religions and ethnic languages, demonstrate the diversity and exchange of ancient Chinese culture, and emanate the brilliant light of human civilization. Dunhuang, as a stage of civilizations. Through the lens of commerce, fashion, embroidered Buddha images, and historical documents, we can see cultures of the East and the West that flourished here and achieved the exciting fusion. The open and inclusive social and cultural atmosphere of that era is awe-inspiring, reflecting the broad-mindedness of a great civilization. Dun means great, and Huang means prosperous. Dunhuang, with its greatness and prosperity, continues to leave a beautiful poem on the narrative of Chinese and world civilizations for the future generations.